Time now is 8:17. Brad Kava is in Aptos this morning. He's the former radio and music columnist for the San Jose Mercury News and now has his own website, Kava's Radio Soup. Brad, good morning.
Morning, Ross. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Are you surprised that Don Imus is coming back so soon, if at all?
I really am surprised. I thought with the outcry nationwide that he was done, and I thought it was time for him to be done.
But even Al Sharpton is saying he has a right to make a living.
Yeah, but Al's also saying, but we have a right to protest, and maybe this will stir up some more protest. I am just shocked in that way, that radio is so desperate for personality, they don't have a training ground, that they'll take somebody who had somewhat of an established audience and put him back no matter what he says.
He also had a clause in that contract with CBS Radio back in New York, from what I understand, and that's why he probably made good on the contract, is got a lot of money from it, is that he was expected to be controversial. He was expected to push the edge of the envelope.
Yeah, but does that mean like pre-Civil War terms and racist kind of attitudes? I worry about that. I mean, in this country, we don't tolerate a nipple. Janet Jackson showing a nipple and she's punished forever, yet we'll tolerate somebody, Ann Coulter, saying things that Jews should be gotten rid of and converted. These kind of prehistoric attitudes. Imus using words that I can't even, it's not in most people's vocabulary. It hasn't been since the Civil War. And how do we tolerate that on radio, and why?
I understand exactly what you're saying, but because Don Imus picked the wrong target here. The Rutgers basketball team, women's basketball team, they had done nothing wrong. They were doing exceptionally well playing basketball, and were a classy group of women. And like you say, Ann Coulter says some things, and she continues to be on TV.
Right, yeah, and although I think TV has been more vigilant than radio in patrolling people like this. Rush Limbaugh made a comment on TV, he was gone. He still has 20 million listeners on radio. Michael Savage, one comment, he's gone. His comment was, I hope you get AIDS and die, to somebody, and called him a sodomite. And TV, for some reason, has been better about policing itself than radio. I think radio needs the quick bucks, and they can't afford, and they don't really have a training ground anymore. And then you see what happened to those DJs last night, as you just reported.
It seems to be a slippery slope, though. I mean, you start in on this, and we're looking for everything. And you mentioned earlier Janet Jackson, and I think you're right on that, too. I look for that. I mean, when I've seen the replays for that, and it's hard to see what happened. There was no there.
So, but it was so offensive. The country was indignant. The networks were fined hugely. And as you notice, she hasn't had a career since then. She's not going to be on the TV or Super Bowl or anything else. And yet, what she did was so unoffensive, as you say, no there. And yet, anything to do with sex we can see is so horrible, and yet racism and things like that, we somehow managed to let them apologize.
Again, we get back to you saying the country was offended by all this kind of thing, and then management and broadcasting. I mean, they asked some of these morning radio shows or people on television to be outrageous and to be crazy, and then they come across shocked when they're outrageous and crazy.
And that is the other thing. Sometimes the management signs off on these things and then suddenly reverses their course. Apparently that's a trend too.
You think there's a chance we're going to hear Imus on radio in the Bay Area?
Well, I wonder. They have the same owners now. KGO AM and KSFO AM are owned by Citadel. I don't know where they have room for him, but I think there's a chance he will be syndicated and he may make it out here.
And there is word that television might pick up a simulcast like he had with MSNBC.
But the question, and I ask this, everybody should, are the political guests going to want to come on there?
Yeah.
Is he somebody you're going to want to be affiliated with? That was his main call. It wasn't his intelligence or anything. It was that he got these great guests out. He was the one shock jock to go into the level of politics and make these politicians seem human.
He did have the big names when it came to politics and all, and you're right. Will they return? And that's just yet to be determined.
Yeah, they're so careful these days. I doubt they're going to be running over there.
All right. Thanks, Brad, for talking with us this morning. We'll tell everybody you can go on KTVU.com and get a web link to Kava's Radio Soup. Interesting things about radio there. Thank you, Brad. Time now is 22 after 8. Let's get back to the desk.
Coming up, one California man will never forget his Halloween trip to Hawaii after something pretty scary tried to take a bite out of his leg.
And a homeowner in Wisconsin makes a creepy discovery in his own garage: 2 Civil War tombstones.
In a KTVU Channel 2 News investigation, What's missing from this picture?
They want 2 great schools. They want 3 taquerias and a few good grocery stores to choose from. And likewise, they want a few good options for pediatric care.
A lot of families come to us and they haven't seen a doctor in years.
If the majority of children in San Francisco live here, why are only a handful of doctors available to them? Today on KTVU Channel 2 News at 5.
See the huge new selection of stressless home theater seating. Stressless recliners are the most comfortable in the world. The only chair endorsed by the American Chiropractic Association. Copenhagen, 975 Bryant, San Francisco.
Deep discounts on all RVs at the Santa Clara County Fairgrounds RV Discount Sale, located on Tully Road in San Jose. Going on now through November 4th. Showtimes 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at the Santa Clara County Fairgrounds.
The critics agree.
Spit it out.
The best reviewed film of the year around the world is
Ratatouille.
They're calling it amazing.
Pure poetry.
The movie of the year.
Thanks, little chef.
And give it 2 thumbs up. Disney Pixar's Ratatouille on DVD and high-def Blu-ray November 6th.
Fact.